Welcome to the show. It's your girl Sarah right here on Relax Radio. Super excited to be here on this beautiful Tuesday morning, all right? And the time here in the United Kingdom is about, 6:18 a.m. Super excited to be here because we're going to be having a lot of very interesting and important conversation because I have a lot to share with you, right? Now, you're tuned into Relax Radio and we talk about the very latest from science to technology to health to news, whatever it is that you're interested in, we talk about all of it, all right? So obviously, if you want to stay informed, if you want to stay updated, well, the best place for you to do that actually is Relax Radio because all you need to do is just text me or call me on 07852473473. Share your thoughts, share your opinions with me because that will be absolutely amazing. All right, and let me know what you are thinking. Let me know how you're feeling about the very latest that we're going to be talking. All right, because today we're going to be talking about Scotland and how Scotland is finally free. All right, so we'll obviously compare the situation here in England as well. Talk a little bit about, why exactly it took Scotland a little bit of time longer or more time than here in England or the United Kingdom to actually take to lift their restrictions. All right, so it's important to keep that in mind. We will be discussing all of that, but before we head into our conversation, I want to very quickly remind you that you can in fact go follow us on our socials, right? If you like us on Facebook or follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok, you can actually make sure that you're always informed and updated about the very latest. All right, so don't forget to do that. Don't forget to go follow us on our socials. And if you're someone who's interested in science, health, technology, whatever it is that you want to hear, well, the best place for you to actually learn or hear about all of that is Relax Radio. And the best way for you to do that is actually to download an app, which is available on both the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. That way you can actually make sure that you're always informed and you're always updated about the very latest. So don't forget to do that. But now let's actually head into our conversation because obviously, we have a lot to be talking about with regard to how Scotland is finally free. All right. Now, most of the COVID restrictions in Scotland have actually been lifted, and this is actually because the country moved beyond level zero restrictions or level zero rules, right? And the reason they did so is obviously, at this point of time, they just realized that look, our country seems to be dealing with the pandemic quite well, so at this point of time, it looks okay, or it looks, I guess it's understandable for them to take away all of those restrictions that were in place. All right, so that is the reason why they have actually done that. And obviously, you can't have a country locked down forever, right? There's only a certain instance or a certain time frame that you can actually do that, because obviously, not everyone is going to be okay with the fact that they're locked down. And in terms of the economy, in terms of growing the economy, in terms of the economy, getting back to how it is or what it was, it's very important that you try to reopen as soon as you can, as soon as the situation is much better, because otherwise it would have quite a large economic impact, right? So obviously it's very important to discuss those things. It's important for you to keep those things in mind as well, and that is why we will be having that conversation as well, because obviously I want to share my thoughts and ideas with you as well. Okay, now physical distancing rules and the limits on gatherings have actually been removed, and all venues are allowed to reopen, which means that a lot of these venues that were locked down, or a lot of these places that were shut down or shut down during the lockdown, can actually now open, and there aren't really physical distancing rules and limits that they have to stick by when they open the restaurants or clubs or whatever it is, right? So what this means is, in a way, it looks like complete freedom. That's what it looks like, and honestly, that is something that we all want, right? However, at the same time, it's important to keep in mind that even though all of these restrictions have been lifted, people can go out, and restaurants don't really, or other places don't really have to maintain these limits and physical distancing rules on gatherings and whatnot. It's important for us to keep in mind that the pandemic is still there, right? It's still happening, so it's important that when you go out, you still take those steps, or take those steps actually that you were taking before this whole thing, right? Basically, wearing your mask, sanitizing, making sure you social distance, right? Remember, and always keep that in mind as well, because even though you're vaccinated, it doesn't mean that you're completely immune to the disease, right? It means that you can actually get it. So make sure you stay safe, and make sure you stay safe, and not only think about yourself but everyone else as well. All right. Now, there will also be changes to rules on self isolations, but face coverings have actually, face coverings will actually still need to be worn in any place that is, any public space, right? And this includes schools as well. So, even though all of these restrictions have been lifted, if you're going out, if you're in any public setting, you still have to wear your face mask, right? So, remember to wear your face mask. And the restrictions on physical distancing and limits to the size of social gatherings have actually been removed, and nightclubs are allowed to reopen, right? Which basically means, the whole of Scotland is now pretty much open, so you can do what you want as long as you take care of yourself, you wear your mask, and you still socially distance and whatnot. Now, for all of these fans out there, or rather, all of these people out there who love going to, music festivals and other festivals and whatnot. Now, large scale events are actually allowed to resume, like they can resume, but organizers of outdoor events rather they actually have to inform the government, or they have to apply for permission if they're holding events for people that for an amount of people that is more than 5,000. If that's outdoor, and indoor, if it's more than 2,000 people, they have to apply for permission. All right. Now, make sure you stay tuned, because obviously we're going to head into a small break, and after that we will be back to keep talking about this. But until then, make sure you stay tuned. Welcome back to the show. It's your girl Sarah right here on Relax Radio. Now, I'm super excited to be here to be sharing my thoughts and my opinions with you, because that's what you are here for. I mean, I have a lot of news to be sharing with you, especially, with the latest that is happening, not just here in the United Kingdom, but in fact all over the world as well. All right. So make sure you stay tuned, because I would love to share my thoughts and my ideas with you. I would love to hear what you have to say. I would love to hear, your thoughts and ideas on this. All right. So don't forget to do that, because you can text me on 078 share your thoughts, share your opinions, because I would absolutely love to hear what you have to say. All right. And don't forget to go follow us on our socials either, because that way you can actually make sure that you're always informed and you're updated about the very latest, and that you're always a part of the conversation. All right. So if you go follow us on our socials, if you go like us on Facebook and follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok, you can actually make sure that you're always informed about the very latest, and you are always a part of the show. Okay, so don't forget to do that, because that would be absolutely amazing. And don't forget, you can actually subscribe to us on YouTube as well, because that way you can actually listen to the conversation the moment you want it. It's literally just there, so don't forget to do that. And obviously, in terms of, in terms of the app and where it's available for download, you can actually head on over to either the Apple App Store or the Google Play Store. Make sure you download the app, and that you always listen and pay attention to what we are talking about. All right, because that's going to be absolutely amazing as well. And no matter where you are in the world, you can actually listen to us through the app. So don't forget to do that. All right. However, now let's actually head back into our conversation. Make sure to share your opinions with me. Make sure to share the conversation or join the conversation live and share the conversation with your friends and family as well, because it would help everyone to be more aware, to know everyone's thoughts on what is currently happening all over the world. All right. Now, getting back to Scotland, getting back to the rule changes and everything that they are going through. Now, indoor hospitality venues will still have to collect the contact details of customers to help with test and protect, right? Obviously, this is to make sure that in case someone tests positive for COVID, in case there is another outbreak, that they have already taken the necessary steps to contact people, to trace them, and to make sure that everyone is isolated and everyone is safe to prevent another outbreak, right? Because, I mean, if you haven't been watching the news, you probably don't know about this. But if you have been watching the news, well, then you know that there's another outbreak in China recently, right? And this is apparently the worst outbreak they've had ever since COVID-19 first hit in Wuhan, right? So obviously, it's important to keep that in mind as well. So to make sure that another outbreak like that doesn't happen and we don't basically go back to square one, this is why all of these restrictions, or rather, this is why all of these regulations and requirements are in place, to essentially make sure that if something like this happens, they've already taken the necessary steps to protect all of us. All right. So that is what it is. Now, something else that we also need to talk about, obviously, is how exactly this is going to change the day-to-day dynamics, right? Now, people will still have to wear face coverings in all the same indoor settings as in level zero, such as, shops, hospitality venues, and even public transport, right? Which I think, is a given, especially because if I do use public transport, I tend to wear my masks and I tend to wear my mask and whatnot, right? And, to be quite honest, I've gotten a few looks and whatnot, because there are a few people who don't really agree with the fact that masks should be worn and whatnot, but I would better be safe than sorry, right? So that's just me. I mean, ultimately, it's your personal choice, but I would much rather wear a mask and wait, because to be quite honest, I've actually kind of gotten used to it as well, right? Because it's sort of become a part of my life. It's become a habit. So I guess that's just what it is. All right. So that's just what it is. So they'll have to wear face coverings, and all of these measures will actually be kept in review, because First Minister Nicola Sturgeon actually said that it was very likely to remain in the law to come. For some time, it would still be there in the laws. All right. So make sure you stay tuned, because right now we're going to head into a small break, and after that we will be back to keep talking more about this. But until then, obviously, make sure you stay tuned, because after this break I will be back to keep talking more about this.
The valuations that you place on an asset are always behind you. It's always in hindsight. It's never in front of you. And that's one of the challenges, right? Because you're always valuing what happened yesterday. And what you need is what's going to happen tomorrow. What am I saving or investing